This is Parkinson Power. This is all about motivation and empowerment. Living well with Parkinson's disease. How many of you can say to me, Mara, I'm living well with Parkinson's disease? The key word here is what? Well. You know, because anybody can survive, hopefully. Anybody can just drift through it. Anybody can have a mediocre life and just tolerate. But when I try to help you with empowerment and motivation, it's the fact that you accept that you have Parkinson's disease, right? And with empowerment, all you do is you find the problem, or you realize the problem, and then you learn the solution, and you do something about it. This is your sense of control. This is your sense of control. Okay, how many of you have been living with Parkinson's for 5 years? 10? 15? 20? Okay, I've had friends of mine living with Parkinson's for 30 years, and they actually do have a very wonderful life. Okay, so what's the key? What's the key? I think that Phyllis reminded me the topic for today is how to be, what is it, Phyllis? Patient, tolerant, and kind. Okay, how do those words apply to you? How many of you are patient? Not good. You know, the patience,
Not patient at all.
I'm not either, but I've learned it. Either I've learned to slow down and to be patient. To be patient with someone is very, very, very important, particularly living with Parkinson's. Why? Now, this is a no-brainer question.
Because you've already slowed down.
Because you're already slow. You're already slow. So the need for you, Parkinson patients, to be patient with yourself. Patient with yourself. And realize, well, I'm a little slower than somebody else. Now, here's where I plug in the fact that you cannot blame it all on Parkinson's. Have you noticed that we're all seniors? Have you noticed that the older we get, the slower we get? All right, we're getting older. It takes us more time. It takes us more energy. There's nothing wrong with being slow. There is something wrong with stopping and doing nothing at all. And that's very easy to allow to happen with Parkinson's disease. Am I right? It's very easy when you can be impulsive and you can be fast. You can say, okay, I need this. I'm going to jump in the car and I'm going to drive a mile and I'm going to jump out of the car and I'm going to run into Publix and I'm going to grab my stuff and then I'm going to jump back in the car. I'm going to go home. And all this happens in about 17 minutes. Okay? There's a certain amount of spontaneity, impulsivity, of when you're on a high functional level, when you have the spirit, the will, you're sparking in a hurry. Well, all that kind of goes to kaput with Parkinson's disease, right? It takes energy for you to get dressed. It takes energy for you to mobilize to the car. Some of you are not driving, so you have to wait and be patient until your loved one is able to get behind the wheel and carry you where you're going, right? It takes energy to get out. It takes energy to shop. It takes energy to engage with people. So it's easier to do what? Stay home. It's easier just to stay home. So the impulsivity, the spontaneity that a younger person or a person that's living without disease and disability is the spark that keeps making it happen. Right, Dusty? Dusty's doing something every second, all right? Flitting all around, doing this, doing that, and whatever, all right? So the key is, when you lack the impulsivity, the ability to do it in a hurry, this is sometimes what happens when you start with the apathy. Oh, it's easier not to do it. It's easier to stay home. It's easier to be in the recliner and just sit and hope somebody else does it. Right? It's the worst thing you can do. All right? So starting from the go sign, be patient with yourself. You say to yourself, okay, it's going to take me 3 times as long as somebody else, but I'm going to do it anyway. You've got to constantly charge yourself because the charge is not going to happen automatically, right? So if you plan to do something with Parkinson's disease, you need to pre-plan more than to rely on the spontaneity and in the moment doing something. You got me? So if you know, okay, on Friday we're going to go to Publix or wherever you go, the doctor's office, the dentist, the pharmacy, and whatever, then you pre-plan that so that you're all arranged and ready to go with it. Okay? What does the word patient mean?
Wait graciously.
Wait graciously. That's put very well. I actually don't know. I didn't even look it up. To wait patiently. Just stand and wait. Tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock. Right? Are you done tick-tocking? Right?
Doctor's visit.
Like the doctor's visit, all right? You have to wait graciously, courteously, and just stop what you're doing and wait. That's tough, isn't it? Because we've all been conditioned in our life to beat the clock. Remember that? Remember that show 100 years ago, Beat the Clock, and they'd run around like chickens? Do you remember that? And the clock would go. What year was that, in the 50s? Remember the clock would go, Con? You had so much time to do it. Well, we're conditioned, do it in a hurry. Everything in life in America is do it in a hurry. Why use the oven when you can use the microwave? Right? Okay, why get out of the chair when you can click? Why watch a commercial when you can click? This is the way we are conditioned. All right, there's nothing wrong with waiting, but you have to do it in a gracious manner. So you Parkinson patients, be patient with yourself. Take time, ask for the time, utilize the time that you need to take care of yourself. My caregivers, patience can really be tested with your job, right? Why do you run out of patience supporting and loving and caring for a Parkinson patient? How many of you have run out of patience with them? Yeah, and if you're not raising your hand, you are bold-faced lying to me. You are lying to me. How can you not run out of patience? All right, you have a life, you have things to do, you're healthy, you're able, you can do it fast, all right? And not only do you have to slow down or stop to wait for them to catch up, but then you have to slow down and do your stuff and their stuff all at the same time. So you have this urgent mode. The faster I work, the more I can get done, the more I can stay ahead of it. So how do you maintain your level of patience? When you run out of patience, lots of times this can initiate real problems, right? You get tired, you get impatient, you get rude, and you snap. And you all know how I feel about that. This is the last thing I ever want you to do. Do not become impatient, because your role, my caregiver, is supporting and loving your Parkinson patient, your family member, your husband, your wife, your best friend, whoever you're caring for, is to make their life better, to give them more of a sense of control, to give them a stronger sense of self, to give them a higher level of esteem, to give them the confidence that they need to keep trying. So if you become impatient with them and you snap at them, what are you doing to them? You're degrading them. You're knocking them down. This disease is knocking them down enough physically and emotionally and mentally and every other way that they got going on with them socially, all right? So your need to be patient is critical. So how do you stay patient?
Count to 10.
Count to 10. My little tips from table number 1.
Lock yourself in the bathroom, scream loudly.
Lock yourself in the bathroom and scream. Look at these tips. My goodness. So we're going public with this. We have to start doing a resource book of survival. I keep saying I'm going to do that. Somebody should be taking notes. My Phyllis, she takes notes on everything that I say. So we could probably go to Phyllis and pull a book from your little note taking. She's been taking notes on me since we first met, I think. I didn't realize she took such exclusive notes. So, but yeah, do whatever it takes to be patient. Walk away. If you feel it coming up from your toes, a sense of impatience with your loved one, just walk and say, excuse me for 1 minute, please. Because always remember, you can't unring the bell. So if you all of a sudden, because of your impatience and you're stressed, depressed, and out of control, you become impatient, you purge out something that can be very hurtful to them. And it can demean them and demoralize them. And you're doing more harm than if you whacked them or struck them. Do you understand me? So you may not do it. You need to hear me. You may not do it. I'm one of these believers that, even when things need to be said that might be a little negative or constructive criticism, you still have to do that in a very respectful, dignified tone. You may not raise your voice. Right? It's not what you say, but how you say it. Right? I can get away with pretty much anything because I know what tone of voice to use. All right? So be patient. All right? Work on it. All right, the second one is tolerant. What does it mean to be tolerant? Forgiving, good word. I tolerate you. I guess there's different ways to look at it.
Put up with
Huh?
Put up with
You put up with it. You put up with it.
Accept what's there and deal with it.
Yeah, you tolerate it, and this is why I put accept and tolerate in the same title. All right? You gotta, if you're gonna tolerate something, you gotta accept it. All right? You're stuck with something that you don't want. You're stuck with this disease and it's not going anywhere, and it's not going to give you so much as a 30-second break. So you tolerate it after you accept it. So if you haven't accepted who you are, how many of you look in the mirror and say, I accept who I am this day? And I know some days we look better than other days, right? Some days we feel better than other days. But I'm saying as a whole, when you look in the mirror, what do you see? Do you accept the person that you are today? Huh? I know you do, Connie. Connie has done a wonderful job of accepting the changes in her life, haven't you, sweetie? And she's done it as a lady, as a strong lady. She's done it. It's hurt her. Her losses have hurt her. But she has stood up to her disease in her own special way. And she has accepted. Her days on the golf course are over. I just will not accept if you ever stop baking Connie cookies. I will never accept that. And I'm not allowed to have cookies right now, but I'm going to have cookies when you make me Connie cookies for the 4th of July. Okay. But you have to accept, this is who I am today. This is who I am today. Who are you today? You have to accept yourself first. If you're going to deal with any challenge in life, if you are going to deal with anything that crosses your path from morning till night, you have to accept and love and understand yourself. Comes from you first. All right? So, who are you?
Same person you were pre-Parkinson.
The exact same person that you were pre-Parkinson. This disease does not change you. It changes everything, but it doesn't change you. What makes you extraordinary? All right? Huh? You're thinking. You're only going to deal with this disease in your head. You're only going to stand up to it. You're only going to knock it out of the ballpark in your head, because physically, unfortunately, you're losing that ability. All right? But you look in the mirror and you say, I accept who I am today. I was over the weekend, I was straightening through some pictures. Oh, it can be scary looking back. Have you ever done that? And, my nursing school graduation, I have all this stuff in this box. Why, I have no idea. My mother, when she moved from the big beach house to the little beach house, she put all of our things that she had been saving for the 4 children, and she sent it to us. And I remember I got this box from South Jersey, and I was like, Mom, am I dying or something? Do you know something about me that I don't know? Because why are you sending this box? And she said, because you need to have all these mementos of your past. And I remember saying to my mother, I lived my past. I don't need the mementos. I said, that's why I gave all this stuff to you. But, when you look back, and so I was looking back on myself, even from the time that I was this little fat kid on the Ocean City beach, okay? And the truth be told, I took time away from organizing some things, and I'm still unpacking. Why hasn't anybody asked me if I'm done unpacking? I'm not. I am not. All right, I'm gaining on. I have one more room to do. But I took time, and I really just sat on the floor, and I was looking through these pictures, and I had a heck of a good time, me, myself, and I, And when I looked at the pictures, I realized this is the same exact Marilyn, because if I looked in the eyes of the child or the teenager or the nursing student or the whatever, it was still me, So even when I look in the mirror now, truth be told, and I'm very grateful for this, I feel that I'm a better person than I am now, approaching 70 years old, than I was when I was 15, 25, 40, and whatever. And I always tried to make my life matter, right? Whether it was being a mother or a grandmother or a nurse or whatever else. But I think that that's one thing that you have to do as you evolve through this with Parkinson's disease. This disease has the ability to make you better. If you hold on to the fact that the same person that you were all along the way, okay, from a little kid to a teenager, all the seasons in life, is still in there. So what makes you great? What makes you worth accepting? Gary?
That you are used to living with everybody, There was a time that I kind of shut people out.
You had a time that you shut people out? Well, that's okay. As you have challenges along the road of life, people respond to their challenges in a different way. I can sit up here on my perch and say, okay, you will accept and you will tolerate and you will be patient with this disease. But with Parkinson's, you have to find your own way. And a lot of times when you're dealing with something that you don't want and there's nothing that you can do about it, you have to find your own way. A lot of times people will internalize. They will turn people away. Leave me alone. I can do it by myself. It's not the best way to do it. Why do you think that is?
We all need help.
We all need help. We all need love and support and respect and understanding from anybody and everybody. All right? You don't have to tell the world your business. I don't believe in that either. But you have to still have the ability to reach out and embrace the people in your life that are close enough to be there and to matter and to make a positive contribution. Don't ever, my patients and caregivers, don't ever, 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 turn your back or isolate yourself from the people that are closest to you. It's the biggest mistake you can make. Hurts you and it hurts them, right? Hurts you and it hurts them. How did you accept your diagnosis, those of you that have accepted it?
Not easy.
Not easy. It is not easy. This is the toughest disease out there, through Marilyn Tate's eyes.
Only occurs over time.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because you can't get it all at once. There's different things that will come up. You say, oh my God, I can't play golf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Joyce said it's more of an evolution. Like, you had to accept the diagnosis. That was one acceptance. Okay? You have to accept that you don't know what's coming. That's another acceptance, right? You have to accept that I'm different than everybody else. That's another acceptance. Then you have to accept, now I can't drive. I hate that. And then you have to accept, well, now I can't play golf, right? And then it gets even more heartwarming, or whatever word you want to say. Well, now I can't button my button. That's another acceptance. So it's not like saying, I accept Parkinson disease, like, here's an apple pie. Do you accept it? Yeah, Mar, thank you. Okay? You have to accept all the hundreds of little things that go along with it. It's one acceptance after another acceptance after another acceptance. Right? And you accept the loss. So this is the disease of loss. This is why I sit up here every single week pushing you to stand up straight and to hold on to what you have. Because this disease will take over. You all know it. So what's the key to standing up to it? What's the key to saying, okay, this is who I am today? Marilyn says, I will accept who I am today. So what's the key? First of all, you always realize, who am I? What makes me great? What makes me worth loving? You have the answers to that?
Just be yourself.
Just be yourself. Yeah, be yourself, be kind, have integrity, have all those wonderful qualities that everybody is taught to be. All right? And lighten up and loosen up and evolve with the disease to a point. So I'm asking you to change, but I'm asking you to hold on and to hang on and to stay in control. So I'm asking you almost something that's impossible, but you're doing it anyway. Do you know that? You're doing it anyway. And just for me, for the fact that you come at week after week after week, just to learn, just to have some motivation. I know it's more than just those little sandwiches. It's got to be. Right?
It's you.
Oh, it's me. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. And I often think, that if there was just a recipe for success or a cookie-cut solution, I could just make it so easy for you, right? But there isn't, because each of you are so different, and each of you have to find your own way. Patient and caregiver. This disease is very elusive. That's tough, isn't it? What are some of the things that I'm asking you to accept? Let's talk about, what are you having to accept? The fact that it's elusive. How many of you have a concern or have a worry or have a fear that nobody can really validate what's going to happen tomorrow? This is the most scary thing, I think, about Parkinson's disease.
I've been having things that I couldn't do last year that I can do now.
Oh, my goodness. Huh?
I still shake like
Yeah, but see, I'm so happy to hear that. He's doing things today that he couldn't do last year. Okay, but now I'm going to take credit of my little line that says, the body follows the mind. Last year, you weren't in a good place. You weren't in a good place in your mind and in your heart. You really weren't, and you know that. Am I right?
Oh, yeah.
You were grumpy.
I was
Yeah, that's good to say. Yeah, right. But once, and we all know that if you're not in a good place in your mind, that nothing else really matters. I've taught you that before. That's why I play on you all the time. Please keep a positive spirit. Please keep a positive thought in your mind, all right? Because you will do so much better with this disease. You cannot give up. You cannot default. You have to hold on to the positivity and the hope. And then I watched you evolve with a very simple thing. And what was it?
trains.
The trains. The trains. You're one of my greatest accomplishments. Did you know that? Because we were having a conversation at Parkinson Power, remember? And my father always had trains when I was a little girl, and he had girls. We had trains, right?
I had daughters, they had trains.
I had trains, and I just said to him, gee, I love trains. And he says, I got trains. And I said, well, bring them and put them around the tree. And that was a selfish thing because I wanted trains. Had nothing to do with making you better. I wanted trains. Right? And he got the change, and Jim helped him. Remember, Jim? You're going to do it again this year, I hope? And then that gave him his hobby. That gave him his passion. That gave him something he could do. It's good for you in all different aspects, okay? And once you bring your spirits up and the ability to stay active and to stay engaged and to have a routine and to use your time wisely, all right, now he's doing things that he couldn't do before because he wants to. Yeah, we all have the life that we choose, other than the circumstances that happen to us. I'm not saying, that the events of the day, the good and the bad events, we choose. But we have the ability to choose the life that we want. And what life do you want? What life do you want? Huh? The best. You better believe it. You deserve the best. How do you qualify the best?
This is best for me now. And I've tried it without Parkinson's place. It doesn't measure up at all. I think this have given me so much room. And it really is a huge thing.
Yeah. Parkinson Place fills a big slot, doesn't it? It fills a great big slot that we're happy to give to you. The sociability, the exercises, the education, the empowerment, the ability to stay engaged with other people is huge. Okay, so continue to take advantage of it because we really do love to have you here. And we want to see you on the highest level that you can. But you have a life outside of here. What's that life like outside of here? I'll come to dinner anytime you want to invite me. I hate to cook. Huh? What's your life like outside of here? Huh? It's good. It's great. It's all about balance, right? You have a great relationship. You have great friendships. You have a great life at home. You have great families, right? Then you come here and have a great time at Parkinson Place. Okay, but you choose the life. Your life is great because you choose to make it great. You're not belly up in the recliner. This is very easy. Haven't you ever heard me say that before?
Yeah, it's our first time here.
1,000 times. I've been saying belly up on the recliner for a long time, If you want to get out of the recliner, don't get in it. Because I get in and I don't get out. Don't laugh, it's the truth. So what are you tolerating? How do you tolerate? You can tolerate because you have to tolerate. You have to tolerate because it's not going anywhere. But when I say tolerate, I mean accept it, realize it, live with it on a positive level. You can tolerate horrible things. It will still negate you, right? I had a mother. Every Friday night we had fried liver and onions. I like it now, Connie, but I wasn't nuts about it growing up, right? And my father was anemic. He had pernicious anemia, and she thought that this piece of liver that she gave the entire family every Friday night, okay, was going to help Daddy, he was taking shots at B12, but this was my mother's way of contributing to his anemia. And I said, well, Daddy has the anemia. Why are we eating it? Why? I could not take it. And my second sister loved it. And the third sister wouldn't even come to the table. She said, count me out. I will starve. Okay? So I tolerated it. I tolerated it because my mom thought she was doing something great, and I thought, well, I'm going to support Daddy. He loved it too, with the slivered onions and the bacon. You know where I'm going with this? And I did great until I went to nursing school, and she still did it. It went on for years, all right? For years. And I did fine until I came home from nursing school on a Friday night, and I had done my OR rotation. You with me so far? And I said, Mother dear, I love you, but it is over. Done. So I've gotten out of it. But now every once in a while, I'll order it. You know where they have it good? Where you have it.
We don't have it.
No, I mean at that restaurant that you love on Bay Vista.
Well, they're Dutchmen.
Dear Dutchman, yeah, I have a friend that recently passed of cancer, but that was one of his last meals. I took him to dinner, and I said, what do you want? He said, liver and onions. I said, oh my God. I tolerated it. I didn't like it, but I did it. That's a different type of tolerate. With tolerate, you tolerate graciously. So how do you tolerate yourself, and how do you tolerate life? What are the tips and tools? Tell me.
Positive attitude.
Positive attitude.
Pray a lot.
You pray a lot? Absolutely.
One day at a time.
One day at a time. Absolutely. You can't eat an elephant, but you can eat an elephant one bite at a time. All right? Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't get into the mode of what if, perhaps, and maybe. What do I mean by that? You're sitting right here. The other big thing that I really rely on every single day is to live in the moment. Live right in the moment. All right? I have conditioned myself, I have trained myself to be right here, right now with you, making you the top priority. Okay? I'm not thinking about tomorrow. I'm not thinking about last night. It will give the moment, it'll give the day a lot more meaning if you give it your full attention. Does that make sense to you? It's the truth. So when I'm here, you know, with my Parkinson family, when I'm here with my peers, my friends, my staff, I'm right there with them, whichever one I'm with. And then when I get in the car and go home, then I focus on something else. All right? It will give you more quality life. It'll give you more attention. It'll give you more detail. Don't spend the day worrying about what might never happen tomorrow. I call it the what if, perhaps, and maybe. What if, perhaps, and maybe. Now, what if next week, blah, blah, blah. Or maybe this time next year, I'll be like this. Who cares? It's nothing but a guessing game anyway, is it? It is nothing. Life is nothing but a guess. I don't know about you, but I'm really happy that I don't know what's coming tomorrow. Isn't that the truth, my friends?
Well, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I'm thankful because, you know, I can look back on some major challenges in my life that I would have never been able to face if they knew they were coming. I'd have been running the other way. You know? Running the other way. All right? So stay in the moment. Stay focused in the moment. Stay focused on yourself. Stay focused on the reality and the good of this day and of this minute. Okay? Reach out for help. You got to ask for help. It's a new feat for some. Little helps like having trouble, God bless you. I'm having trouble with the buttons. Could you give me a hand? Don't make it a big deal. People make too much of a big deal about helping out other people. Do you know that? It's just buttoning a button or tying a shoe. Don't make it a big ta-da. You with me? If you need help, just say, I need a hand here. Help me out. No problem? Sure. Done. Don't talk about it. Don't dissect it. Just do it and get on with it. All right? Don't ever stay in a negative moment. You're going to have a lot of little mini negative moments with Parkinson's. The emotions, what do they roll in? You know the wave? I call it the wave. You get the wave of worry. You get the wave of discouragement. You get the wave of frustration. Have you noticed that the feelings associated with Parkinson's disease aren't pretty? Right? They're not positive. They're not positive and they're not pretty. There's nothing positive and pretty about Parkinson's. If I say to you, how do you feel? You're going to say, happy. I'm so happy, I'm delighted I have Parkinson's disease. This is just so much fun, and it's so easy. You know, lucky, lucky me.
It could be worse.
Bingo. Sure could be worse. Sure could be worse, right? And that comes back to another good point that I always advocate to people is, you know, be grateful for what you have this day. You know, don't be arrogant. Don't be arrogant. You know, you wake up every morning, that's a gift. This is where I come from. It might not be the best life. It might not be exactly what you had in mind. How many of you thought you were going to be where you are today? When you did the grand scheme of things, this is what I'm saying. When you did the grand scheme of things, and we all do it, we all kind of try to forecast. Well, when I'm 60, I'm going to be doing this. When I'm 70, I'm going to be doing that. When I'm 80, I'm going to be doing this. When I'm 90, whatever. I saw this little lady birthday party last Friday, Sadie. She's 103. Isn't that adorable? 103. She's this big. And she's absolutely perfect, but she can't hear. She's walking and eating and talking and the whole 9 yards. And she reacts to you like she can hear. I want to say, do you read lips? Because her answers to me are really pretty good. Okay. But you plan. You think you have a plan for life, right? Just like you go to school, you graduate high school, you go to college, then you get married, then you have the kids, and then you buy the house, and the whole little routine. How many of you have had exactly your life planned the way that you had hoped it would be? Mine wasn't even close. Not even close. Okay? But it all turned out great. All turned out better than I ever thought it could. So don't ever forget to say thank you for this day and for my life and for all the great things in it. I think with Parkinson's disease, because it can be so negative and so challenging, that we forget to look at the good stuff. What's so good about today? What do you got going on that's good? This always worries me when I throw this out there to you. Lunch? Lunch. You're so easily pleased. Oh, you're going to go to dinner, right? They come and then they have their weekly date. I'm glad I'm not sensitive, that you don't want to eat lunch with me. There's 6 other days you could take her out for lunch. What do you pick my day for?
Going out Saturday.
Are you going Saturday?
It's our anniversary.
Okay. How many years?
Longest job I ever held.
Okay. You better up the present now. Up the present. Longest job you ever had? I know better than that. Right? My cousin Ronnie was a prankster. He retired from the Marriott. He went with Marriott right out of University of Georgia, and he stayed there his entire career. Right? And he was just a real wonderful guy, personality plus, interpersonal skills like nothing I've ever seen. And I don't know, I think he had his 20th anniversary, and he sent Sheila roses. All right? And she opened a big box, and it said, "Happy anniversary, thank you for 15 fabulous years."
I could kill it when you see that.
I was wrong, And then when his mother was, 70 or 75, those pink plastic flamingos? They lived in St. Simon's Island, Georgia, and she woke up and looked out the window, and I think she had 80 of those orange flamingos stuck all over the yard, and this is a hoity-toity community. It was hysterical. She left them up for like 2 weeks. 80 plastic. He rented them, huh?
Yeah.
He rented them.
There's a place that rents them out and
Yeah.
does the job.
He called her from Austin and said, "Have you looked out your bedroom window?" And she said no, and there they were, 80, maybe 85, I don't know. So what are you grateful for? Bless you, honey. Each other. My goodness. If you have just one person in your life that loves you and, walks with you through the day, you have a very precious gift. All right, whether it's your sister, your friend, your spouse, an adult child, a best friend, that is a real blessing, to have somebody to walk through life day by day with, that you love and that loves you. Right? And that's the seed of caregiving. What are you doing and why are you doing it? What's the favorite word?
Love.
Love. And what is love?
You have to find it.
I always say, you can't stop it and you can't make it happen. You ever think about that? You can't stop it and you can't make it happen. Right? Yeah, caregiving is a selfless act of love, and the ability to, that to me is what a dignified, loving relationship is, even if it's with a friend or a parent or, you know, a spouse or whatever, is your ability to really put that other person first. And if you put the other person first, then guess what? You're way ahead. You got a relationship that's 200% instead of 50-50. So, all right. How many of you have love in your life? How many of you give love all day long? All right. That's the other thing. I think the world, you know, is a hard place. It's a sad place, really. A lot of people are struggling and sick and lost and alone. Okay, so any chance that you get during the course of the day, you know, be friendly, be kind, extend yourself. Okay, did this help you? Okay, how many of you are patient? I've been chirping up here for the last 1 hour. Chirping away, okay? Be patient. What is more important? What would you be doing? What is more important than what you're doing? And what makes you think you have to do it in half the time? All right? So take as much time as you need to do it. Give your loved one as much time as they need to do it. Be patient. Just slow down. All right? Be accepting. And be tolerant. But most of all, be kind. You know, if you're kind, and if you build kindness and positive relationships, your life is going to be a lot easier and a lot happier. Right? Be very proud of who you are and what you are doing. Whether you're a Parkinson patient, you are the most courageous, bravest people out there because you're facing the most difficult challenge out there. It's scary, it's difficult, it's challenging. Okay, you're brave and you're smart. All right? And you caregivers, be proud of yourself. You're doing a wonderful thing. Okay, so look in the mirror and love what you see. Accept who you are because you are terrific. Okay?